When we talk about in the future the greatest tennis matches that we have ever seen, there is no possible way this one is not in that conversation. Oh my God. What did we just see? Carlos Alcaraz prevails from down 2 sets, from down 5-3, love 40 with 3 championship points by the #1 player in the world. Saves all of them, breaks his serve in the 10th game, and then wins that game. I don't even know where to start. Like, I'm rambling all over the place. I just don't know. Okay. Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz, the #1 and #2 players in the world, the top 2 talents of this new generation of tennis players, the ones who have fully dethroned the big 3. There were some contenders, but these are the 2, the new 2, as opposed to the big 3, as we've been saying. We couldn't wait for them to play in the Grand Slam final because they had never played in the Grand Slam final before. And we thought it'd be a great match because Carlos Alcaraz is the king of clay, as he showed once again today. And Jannik Sinner is the #1 player in the world. He's the most consistent player in the world. He's the one who has the lowest likelihood of losing in the round of 32 or round of 64, the quarters, against an opponent that you are significantly better than. But I've always said, when he is on and he's playing at his best, nobody can touch Carlos Alcaraz. Nobody can touch him. He is the most complete 22-year-old player that we have ever seen. But through the first 2 sets, it was looking like this was going to be a blowout. Like this was going to be a straight setter. And Carlos Alcaraz comes back, breaks Jannik Sinner in the 3rd set. But I still thought, honestly, up until Alcaraz broke Sinner in the 1st game of the 5th set, I still thought Jannik Sinner was going to win. I just thought the momentum from the first 2 sets was just way too much, and it was going to find its way. It was going to carry on. It was like one of those fake comebacks that we see in basketball and a bunch of other sports all the time. But Alcaraz comes back, wins set 3. He is a champion. He has the heart of the champion, and he is the player on this surface. So you think, you know what? He's always going to put up a fight. He's not going to get straight setted no matter who the opponent is. But Sinner's got this. Sinner's got this in the 4th set. Breaks him in the 4th set. Alcaraz says, saves 3 championship points. You got to say a couple of them were gettable, especially the 2nd point where Sinner had a backhand return and he just fully missed it. You got to think if he plays as good as he can on one of those points, Sinner's walking away with the trophy, but he doesn't. And Alcaraz played as well as he possibly could when he absolutely needed it the most and absolutely blitzkrieged him in that last set tiebreak. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was maybe a disappointing tiebreak now that we have a 1-10 tiebreak in majors on the 5th set. So I guess you could say that was disappointing, but I guess you can't have everything in a match like this. But the shot making from Alcaraz, the guts, the determination. Now, it did look like Sinner was a little bit physically impaired. Like, you could feel like he was cramping up a little bit. Remember, this guy had been suspended for 3 months, and he had not played a 5-setter in a very long time. Alcaraz, we know, is 12-1 in 5-setters. But he had never beaten an opponent after being down 2 sets to love. That is the first time it happened. And you thought, there's no way he's going to do that against the #1 player in the world, and he did it. Carlos Alcaraz did it. Oh, my God. No words, no explanations. So let me tell you a little bit about how my day was supposed to go. I was supposed to wake up early here on the East Coast of America, watch the French Open final, watch the Roland-Garros final, then watch the Nations League. That game's already going on. I'll need to watch it. And then at night, watch the basketball NBA Finals game 2. Perfect 3 events of sport. This was so amazing. I guess I kind of don't even care about those 2 right now. I am still caught up in all of this. Never, ever, ever underestimate the heart of a champion. Never do it. Now, if we're getting a little bit more technical, some bones that I have to pick, Roland-Garros needs to adopt Hawkeye. They need to adopt electronic calling because it's so... One thing about the slams is that for a long time, they've all been different and they've all found ways to be different than each other. You remember a long time ago, Wimbledon used to be like in a 5th set, the last set, you had to win by 2 games. You couldn't just, play a tiebreak or play an advanced tiebreak. You had to win by 2 games. That's how we got that John Isner game that lasted like 18 hours or something like that. I think I'm only kind of exaggerating when I say 18 hours. They had their own unique thing. You know, some did a 7-point tiebreak at the end. Some now they've all adopted a 10-point tiebreak. Djokovic and Federer in 2019 had the War of 13-12, as they called it, because they were like, all right, you play, win by 2, all the way to 12, but once you're both at 12-12, the winner of that one game wins, and that's what Djokovic did. But I think the fact that there is such a difference in the way things are called at one particular slam, and the umpires to keep going down, and checking the spot of the clay, which is wrong a lot, I think is a huge issue. And Jannik Sinner could have broken. He would have had another break point in the 5th set if Hawkeye had been established, because Carlos served out. So you got to say that that's a bone to pick, and that's something where you're like, I don't love that it's so different. Maybe that's what makes it extra special. But that was something that was very annoying for me. And then for Jannik Sinner, I mean, I love the kid. I love the guy. And I think he was screwed over with the whole suspension for 3 months, because I'm like, okay, if you were seriously juicing and then you were banned for 3 months, during those 3 months, you probably had to take a bunch of tests. I'd take a bunch of tests to come back, and you still look just as powerful, just as agile, just as great. You're just happening to play the guy who could be the greatest. Clearly, it shows that it didn't give him such an insane advantage. I think it was like 1 part per billion of cluster ball. That can happen on accident. I'm not going to accuse Jannik Sinner of juicing, because he is still amazing now. Alcaraz is just insane. And Jannik can't beat him. He can't beat him. This was by far and away his best shot to beat him. You had 3 points and the game and the championship on your racket, and you couldn't do it. You have to feel for Jannik Sinner, because now this is going to get to him mentally, especially after what's happened with all the doping stuff. And he's essentially become a villain in tennis now. You saw the entire crowd was behind Carlos. They wanted Carlos to win. And Jannik has become the guy in tennis where people are just like, don't like him, don't whatever. He's the guy to shine away. That was similar with Djokovic. He's had many people against him for his entire career. He just ended up being so great that they couldn't continue to be against him or whatever. But he was never going to receive the love and adulation of a Nadal, and especially of a Federer. But Jannik will come back from this. Jannik will come back from this. He is the best hardcourt player in the game right now. I still think he's a huge favorite to win the U.S. Open and the Australian again next year. He'll be my number 1 pick. You have to pick Carlos again at Wimbledon, because he's a 2-time defending champion. But Jannik will be back, and he'll do great. But today is about Carlos Alcaraz, the king of clay, the clutch guy, the never over till it's over player, the one who will persevere through all of it, who just has a stranglehold on Jannik Sinner right now, and was amazing in the last 3 sets. That's as good as somebody can play. And outside of the 2012 Australian Open final, this may be the greatest tennis match that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I knew it was going to be epic, but there's no way I thought it would be this epic. If Jannik Sinner had won when he had those 3 championship points, I still would have said this was a great final. But for it to end the way that it did, this is an all-timer. This is the greatest Roland-Garros final, because Nadal was always blitzkrieging people. Like, it wasn't even close most of the time. So this is the greatest French Open final that I think has ever been produced. And boy, oh boy, Carlos Alcaraz, you're just lost for words. He is just brilliant. And thank you guys so much for entertaining me. I will never forget this. Congratulations to Carlos, but I feel for Jannik. And I don't know what I'm going to do for a while with that anymore. Grand Slam tennis. I guess you just have to wait till Wimbledon and watch, a couple of the 500s like Queens and stuff. But oh my God, Carlos Alcaraz, what a champion. Oh my God. I don't even know. Oh, my voice is crazy. Oh.